but I started to love carnivore because of the way I felt.
So, how did you find carnivore?
Well, Dave, it's been a long journey. About 49 years took me to get to carnivore. Not an easy journey at all. But mostly recently, I would say the last maybe 4 years or so, I've been having health problems. And so my family has Alzheimer's in it. One of my brain scans, I had white matter show up, which scared me. I've had heart issues the last couple of years, things I didn't have before. I've had a couple concussions, fell backwards, fell forwards. So bad brain fog, and so pretty scary. So I had to do something about my health. So, and what started me was, I listened to YouTube. Um, More of a newer person towards the diet and lifestyle changes, but I listened to one talk of Dr. Casey Means, and it was Healing Self, and she was with Dr. G. And so that really got me interested. And before I was doing point counting, I had started and stopped that probably anywhere from 12 to 15 times over the last 49 years. So a lot of times, maybe more. But anyway, so that started me, and I was watching Nikki Gets Fit because she did that kind of a program. Plus, she did macros because I was interested keto. I was watching the Keto Twins, even though they can't really cook much because I was a cook, and highfalutin, um, low carb. So that kind of started me. So I thought I got to do something. So I started with keto in December 7th of 23. And that went pretty well at first, but then I started experimenting making recipes. I did more kind of clean keto at first, and then I started making recipes, which kind of led me back to the fake sugar and this kind of thing. And no, this is better. And so I tried maybe 5 or 6 different sweeteners. And one day I made fudge, and I made it slow cook the almond milk, all that kind of thing. And it was delicious, which really scared me. I cut it into proper pieces. I didn't overeat the pieces, but I wanted it every day. And I thought, if I keep doing this, I'm going to put my weight back on. So I went up and down on keto, probably lost 10 to 11 pounds. And then I went ketovore for a couple days, and then I went carnivore. So I was 43 days keto, 2 days ketovore. And since then, since January 20th, I've been carnivore. So, so it was really health problems that brought me to it. So I'll give you, if you don't mind, a little bit of background on my health that brought me to this point. So in 2020, July, I got COVID. And then in June of 2020, I had a surgery, pretty serious surgery. And I had complications about 3 days later. I had to go back in the hospital. Then I got COVID, going back for tests that I needed for what had happened to me. So I had pneumonia, pleurisy, very ill, high fever, pretty scary. So that kind of started things. And then down the road, I got over COVID eventually, but I had long COVID. So anything I did, I would be fatigued. I would have heart racing, and I'd also have fevers almost every single day. If I exerted myself, I got a fever, sometimes up to 100.1. So pretty significant. Anyway, along the way, so that happened. And then in 2022, let's see, yeah, April 28th, 2022, I had a TIA, which really turned out to be a stroke. I found out by a specialist that I had the kind that doesn't show up on the MRI or MRA, I believe it is, and which was very unusual. But I had speech difficulty. My hand was weak. My leg was weak. And it took me a long time to recover. I still have a little bit of problem. So if you see a little bit of that, that's why. So that happened. So that was pretty scary. And then come along in August, I was having, like I said, I had some heart issues sort of. And all of a sudden I needed a pacemaker because my heart was pausing. It would like stop beating. And then they said I could have sudden death from that. Like, grief. You felt pretty good, but all of a sudden that happened. And then a few months later, I found out I had AFib after going to an appointment to check up my pacemaker. And the gentleman that was the tech that was reading my deal, he said, "Well, you taking that medicine because of your AFib?" I said, "AFib? I don't have AFib." And he goes, Yes, you do." No, I said, "No, I don't have AFib." He goes, "Yes, you do have AFib." So anyway, so shortly thereafter, after that appointment, in January 30th, 23, I had a Watchman put in, which goes into the appendage of your heart, and it kind of seals off, becomes like a parachute, and then your heart skin seals it. So that helps prevent strokes from going into that appendage because I had that TIA stroke like thing already. So I was really scared when I could find out I could have more strokes. So then also, I started watching a lot of YouTube. Came across you. I came watched lots of your interviews. Came across Dr. Barry and Nisha. Came across, let's see, Rob Weiss, Dr. Weiss, and JP and all the others, Baker, etc. But the one that really got me was Dr. Vadia, because he was a heart specialist. And at that time, I'm having heart problems and didn't know what to do with them. And then I found out you should get your different things, the measurement for having metabolic syndrome. And I had a lot of them. My blood pressure was off a little bit, not horribly, but sometimes it got pretty high. And then my waist was too big, and this, that, and the other thing. And I was heavy. Started at 209 pounds, and I'm short, so pretty pretty scary. And although I had my first fasting insulin wasn't horrific, it was 11. So I was dieting off and on. But when I started carnivore, the next test I got it to 5, my fasting insulin, and my blood sugar A1C went to 4.5. So I was being a good girl. Especially being in the past a professional cook, that's very difficult because I love spices and everything, and it's been very difficult. Although when I first started carnivore, it almost made me nauseous to eat meat, because not that I was a vegetarian per se. I have been in the past, did a little bit of vegan in the past. I've tried nearly every diet on the books, but I wasn't used to eating a lot of meat at once with nothing else to go with it. So that was hard to get down. So I didn't know if I'd make it 2 days. I really didn't. I thought, can I do this? But I persevered because I had heard all these other stories, and because in my family history has Alzheimer's. My mother had it, my grandmother had it, and my great aunt had it. And I seem to inherit everything bad when it comes to that side of the family in certain areas. And I already have problems with my brain. I also had depression along the way, and of course that's gone now. I haven't had any depression. I wake up and I go like, "It's spring," It's spring. That's the kind of energy I have now. It's like you're so excited, to when I used to wake up, it's like, "Where is the coffee?" I'm walking around like a slug, And now I wake up like joyful and happy. So, I also got some of the tests that I got a CAC score, which was one of the things that they wanted. And I really had to pressure my new cardiologist to give it to me. I knew from where I came, I moved from California to the Midwest. And so I knew that I had a 50% blockage already. and I wasn't sure which one it was in, but I knew I had some blockage, and I didn't have a stent yet. I was in the cath lab and all that kind of stuff, but it was kind of really iffy whether they should stent it or not. So I was really concerned about my heart in that area, and I also have heart failure. Not severe, but I do have it. Um, and that came with me when I came out here. I've been here about 3 years. And so when I got, so I had really pressure on, and you pay for it. It's not like he pays for it. The doctor doesn't have to pay for it. You do. And so, which kind of surprised me, but I really pushed him on it. I said, well, if you're not going to give me a angiogram or something to, or some kind of thing, I know I had a problem before I got here, and I don't know what my inside of my heart looks like. So he finally agreed. Wasn't real happy about it, but my CAC score came back, and he wanted to see me like in 6 months after that appointment. He kind of like blew me off. And so after he got the CAC score, his nurse called me and said, "Doctor would like to see you as soon as possible, like within the next month." And I thought, well, like what's going on? And I finally got the paperwork from my doctor, and my CAC score was 550. And most of it was in the Widowmaker. 513 was in the Widowmaker, where I think I probably had that calcium already or whatever. The blockage, and the other one was 37 in the circumflex. So that was terrifying. So it's like, goodness, I'm trying to be good. And of course, I know that didn't happen from carnivore or keto, but some of the good things I want to talk about too is one of the first things I noticed. I have bilateral drop foot. I had back surgery that went awry, and they messed up both legs. And so to stand level is very difficult. And I would have to get on the scale, and I'm a numbers person. I like to know what I weigh every day. I want to know what's happening with my diet or whatever I'm doing, good or bad. So I'd get on the scale, and I'd have to get off the scale and on the scale for it to settle down, and hold on and then let go. Well, about 10 to 15 days, and shortly thereafter, after starting keto, I could settle myself. I could stand level without having to get off and on. That was like the most frustrating thing, if you could imagine. Yeah. So that was one of the first things I noticed. Besides uh, having energy, it took me a couple months to come around because in the meantime, about 45 days in, I started keto. I mean, carnivore, excuse me, after keto. And then I was a little sluggish, but I felt pretty good. I didn't have too many issues like some people do. Um, but I started to love carnivore because of the way I felt. My brain fog lifted, which was severe. I just, because I had some issues in the past, and then the concussions and the TIA stroke, whatever it was. My head was a mess, and now it's very clear. That's why I said I wake up and it's spring. That's how it feels. I mean, you feel good when you wake up, and it could be 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and normally I would like, oh, what am I doing up? I can't go back to sleep once I get up. If I'm really up, I'm up, but I don't get tired. Like I did before. I mean, I would be exhausted. If I stayed up that time. I mean, I go to bed a little bit earlier than I used to, but not much.
What's the situation, with meds and things like that at the moment? Are you taking meds for things like you mentioned AFib and stuff? Are you
The only thing
doing
I'm
that?
taking off my blood pressure medicine, because my blood pressure has been fine, except when I go to the doctor's office, get like a white coat panic or something. But I check it often, and it's fine. And my blood sugars are good. My ketosis is good, so I'm doing fine. So I'm completely off of blood pressure. I take potassium because I have to take a water pill. And because of my legs, I have bilateral drop foot. They have a tendency to cramp. So if I don't get the potassium in, then and it's partly for my heart failure. So I take a small aspirin, a potassium, and the water pill. That's it. So pretty low on medicines. Yeah, considering
And
my paperwork is so thick.
yeah. And so you've had no episodes related to your heart, whether it's AFib or anything else since.
Well, I had something come up in January, but I had just barely started keto. I had a little bit of VTAC, which is, heart going really fast, but it wasn't long period. So I'm waiting for my next scan, that do it. I have a device by my bed for my pacemaker. So it picks up anything like that. So I'm hoping this next time it doesn't have anything like that. But another problem I had that I didn't mention, I had postprandial reactive hypoglycemia, which is basically after you eat, you can crash. And my before I had hypoglycemia years back, and I have kind of a warning, like it got close to 70, you know, 72. I start feeling it, and I think, oh, I need to eat a little something. And of course, they tell you eat 6 meals a day. Well, a person likes to cook and eat. That's really bad. Small meals, I didn't know what size small. They didn't really specify. Just eat 6 times a day. But anyway, what was happening more recently during this last year or so, it was crashing like into the 50s. It didn't give me the 70 a warning. It was like, if you're 50, your mind isn't right. You can't think right. So the first time that happened, I told my husband, he would happen to be home. I said, I need sugar, you know. And so he gave me some, he dumped out some Skittles in my hand because I had that. That's why I had those around. So I probably should have taken two, and I was putting them in by color in lines. And I ate the purple ones first, and then the yellow ones, because my mind's not working. And then the green ones and yellow. So I ate like 19. Well, then my sugar went, really high. So that was a mess. I had to end up at the doctor's office. But anyway, so that happened, and then it went into the 40s without any prelude, not knowing, just crash. And sometimes into the 30s, which was horribly, I could almost passing out, can't walk, look like you're drunk, and not have a thing in you. So that was frightening. So all this was kind of happening at the same time. So I haven't had an episode since I've been on carnivore. None, on
Oh,
glycemia. I mean, it's gotten into, the lower 80s and 70s, but I didn't have a problem. So
mm,
that is wonderful. I've lost
nice.
40 pounds since December 7th. So 30 of it's been carnivore. So that's pretty good, I think. Because
Yeah, nice work.
I'm an older lady. I'll be 70 this year. So um, it's harder to get it off when you're older,
Mm.
but it's coming off pretty good. I'm losing about 7 point something a month, which is wonderful.
Oh,
And
excellent.
I've also found out it was like the third day on carnivore, and I wanted to change things up because I'd been on keto and then kind of ketovore. And so I thought, well, I eat some shrimp because I really like shrimp. And I thought, well, that's a good switch up. Well, I found out I'm allergic to shrimp after 69 years on the planet. I became allergic to shrimp. And then, but I tested negative on the skin test. The doctor pokes you, or the nurse does. And I came back negative. I said, you're kidding me. I said, maybe it's something they put in the solution to preserve the shrimp. Well, he goes, well, there's a 2% of people that are still allergic, but I have to take a blood test for it. So I'm going to check it. And so, I had to wait quite a while, like weeks. Anyway, I'm in the 2%. I'm really allergic to shrimp. So now I have to carry an EpiPen because of that. And they're huge needles, huge, huge. And they come in a 2-pack just in case the first one doesn't work. So I'm hoping I never have that problem. So I have to tell if I go to a restaurant, I have to tell them I'm allergic to shrimp. But even touching it, I'm allergic to it because my hands turned red and on the top and bottom because I was rinsing it off and carried it to the pan because it was for me. And instead of a strainer like I would if I had company. So anyway, and itched like crazy and my lips swelled up. So it was nuts. So I really
Mm.
don't want that to happen. My husband said, I won't have any problem giving it to you. The shot. It's like great. Payback.
Wow.
I've had a couple friends get interested because of my when I lost about 20 pounds. So they started being carnivores because like I said, read the book from Dr. Vadia, this one, and I told him about it. I said, you got to read it. I said, carnivore is fantastic, but I can't explain it like, a professional can. I said, you're not supposed to eat this and that, but he gives you reasons and he gives you ideas about other diets if that's the way you want to go. And so they read it, they've been on it. And they said, I can't believe how fast it works. And her husband's diabetic and he's doing fantastic. And then she's doing really well herself. Her skin used to tear really easy and it doesn't now. Um, Losing weight, of course. And her mind is clearer. And Steve's blood sugars are mostly in the green now, where they weren't before. He was like all over the place.
Wow.
He showed me the other day. He says, "Look," and he goes, "You can tell when I cheat with peanut butter." 'Cause he got some peanut butter um, and a little jar or something, and he couldn't resist, and it showed in his little chart. And also, my husband's doing it.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, you wouldn't believe, it's been a real struggle. You would have thought I'd put him on a boat and told him to walk the plank maybe, yeah, with a sword behind him, but I didn't do that. He came willingly, but you wouldn't have thought so. I mean, just the way he was reacting, because he's diabetic. He's pretty severe diabetic, and he was really up there in weight, but he's started a couple months after me, and he's already lost almost 40 pounds himself. So he's doing fantastic, yeah. But he still has some issues. We're trying to work those out. But his medicine is reduced. He's off insulin. He does take some other things, some metformin stuff, but that's reduced. And his blood pressure's been better and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully it will get him out of the bad area.
Wow. So look at you. You're not only getting better yourself, everyone around you is getting better just by listening to you.
Well, I love people, and when it was working for me, because like I said, I've tried nearly every diet, and I'm not kidding. I mean, I'm really not kidding. I ate that protein stuff that was in a bottle that was brown in color, that was liquid garbage. I even tried that, and I tried pills with the doctor's help, and did that, and then gained it back. The yo-yo was, Tommy Summers couldn't have done any better. I mean, it was horrible, my yo-yo. And I really tried, but I didn't know I was basically allergic to carbs, the type I was taking in. I'm a baker, I'm also a cook. So I was making, I thought, well, sourdough bread is good. So then I'm making sourdough, bread, before we started this. So that was really hard to give up because I had just started getting it down where it was turning out to be really nice loaves and had to stop all that. I do have a little coffee in the morning, but it's black. It didn't used to be black, but it's black now. My husband has it with cream. And the only other thing I do occasionally is put pepper on things, just because I'm a cook. I need the color. It's like it's got to have something on it. Instead of all the green stuff. But I think he's
Yeah.
going a bit more ketovore for a while because he's having a tougher time.
Yeah. So how are you eating day to day?
Well, I'm too mad, pretty much. Occasionally I go, oh mad, but I don't usually eat until approximately 12:30 to 1. It's usually my first meal, and my second meal is between 5 and 6 usually, maybe 6:30. So, I'm doing intermittent fasting almost from the beginning of carnivore, and that seems to have helped a lot, a lot. Yeah, I really like it.
And what kind of foods are you having? Is that like bacon and eggs for your first meal and steak for the end one?
Yeah, and sometimes I'll make a lamb patty in the morning with eggs. We have a purveyor out here that has sheep, and The lambs are at least a year old, just so people know. They're not little teeny babies. Um, and sometimes I have a hamburger, but with eggs. Usually I like them really soft. I like soft eggs. Once in a while I'll scramble them, but not all. You know. And then I'm recently made bone broth, which I really liked. So I made the bone broth, and of course, you have your bones and marrow bones and whatnot. But then I added I cooked up hamburger separate, and in my bowl I added the hamburger to the bone broth. So that was really delicious. Um, to get a little more beef in there. It has some beef, but it needed more. And then today I did the same thing, but I added steak. I had some leftover steak that I couldn't eat, and I chopped that up and put that in the bone broth. So I usually eat a steak in the evening generally. Sometimes I eat lamb chops, sometimes, occasionally pork. I do like bacon and eggs, so occasionally I'll have that. So most meats, I just have to watch my shellfish now. Just shrimp mostly. I'm not allergic to lobster, but I haven't tried it yet. I'm a little nervous.
So, your husband and yourself are basically eating at the same time, the same kind of
Yes.
thing, and maybe he's having a little bit of green with his as well?
Yeah, he just started that. Well, you can imagine, I've been a professional cook, and then I used to cook for him like major meals and all kinds of varieties and different ethnic groups of stuff, so he's used to a lot of different stuff. And now it's just salt and meat. So I said occasionally I put a little garlic powder on it, a little pepper, but that's not enough for him. So in the morning now I made him recently some omelets, and he wanted a little bit of bell pepper in it, and then some cheese, and he seems to be doing all right with that. So I just eat mine the way I do, either bacon and eggs or steak and eggs or whatever I have. If I have leftovers, sometimes I use that barbecue or I cook it inside. And I also occasionally do chicken wings in the air fryer, and I find that that's a nice alternative. Just the pieces. I usually get them from um, Costco or something where they're organic, if I can. Um, but they're really good for a little bit, in addition to some steak or something. It's kind of nice to have something different, so it looks like you're having different things on your plate, or you mess them around.
Nice. Um, so how do you feel that, like a lot of people, myself included, you've tried lots of diets over your life, and, you know, I you've finally got this way of eating that it's, like, makes you feel full. You don't have cravings throughout the day, and you feel better than ever. I mean, how is that?
um, there's almost no words to describe it because you're like, I'm like almost in disbelief. And I've been, getting close to 6 months. Couple more weeks, it would be about 6 months or 10 days or something like that between the two. And it's like, it's still working. I'm still not hungry. Where I'm not falling off the wagon, and I'm not trying to get a donut or something here and there. Not that I was heavy on that, but um, if I did have it, then I started having those crashes. So I'm kind of scared of that now. But it's absolutely fantastic. And I know that it can help, it helped in my brain, it helped my arthritis. I didn't even mention that. You know, it helped with my balance a little bit. I mean, it's not cured by any means, but it's better. I've had major back surgeries, and I think I'm standing up a little straighter. And my husband says I'm walking faster than I used to. So there's definite benefits. Plus, I don't have the gut issues. I had major gut issues. Um, it's there's no money that could make you feel the way you do after you go carnivore. None. It's just fabulous. And the doctors and nurses and persons like yourself that put on people that of different backgrounds, and uh, it's fantastic because it helps all those people out there that might consider it. By me, somebody else, you, um, gentleman you had on earlier, DJ or something, you know, just
Oh, yeah.
it's the different persons. It's just their stories are inspiring, and it makes me stick to it. You know, because I watch quite a few of yours a day, and so and you know I'm going back too because I missed a lot before.
What about, do you have concerns that at some point you're gonna go and see a doctor and the doctor's gonna say, "No, you gotta stop this. This is crazy."
Well, he tried that day that you know I forced him to give me the CT scan. Oh no, when I went back from the, you know, when after the CT scan, he says, "I'm going to be aggressive with you, and I'm going to put you, you know, on all kinds of heavy medicine. You know, you need to get these numbers down and blah blah blah." And I thought it's not happening. I said I'm not going to do them because you know I have brain problems for one, and it can affect the brain. I have mobility issues to a degree. It can affect that. You know, why would I want to go backwards when you're moving forwards? We're moving forwards. We're becoming stronger each day instead of weaker. I mean, yes, you're getting older, but you don't feel like you're getting older. You're getting
That's
stronger.
a that's a really good way of looking at it, we're moving forward.
Yeah,
It's yeah, I like that.
yeah. It's like I can't run or anything because of my drop foot. I have bilateral drop foot. It's kind of like a person that has a stroke in one foot or something. You see that? Mine's both of them because of the surgery that went awry. So it's like can't run, but you know, I have the energy that I want to. You know, I can walk. You know, I garden sometimes, and even though I'm not eating it, I still have a garden, small garden, and just for the green, just to look at it. I can give it away if somebody else wants it, but I'm not eating it.
Yeah. So, if a friend said to you, "Look, I want some of this," you're 40 pounds down, you're looking fantastic. How do I get on this myself? What would you recommend? How they should get started?
Well, I want to say I want them to go hard carnivore. I think I want them to go carnivore first because keto kind of tripped me up a bit, even though it works, you know, and works well for some people. It didn't work great for me because I wanted to try all the fun stuff, you know, and it kind of led me up and down more than I liked. Um, if they went super clean keto and strict and heavy meat, you know, like keto for, I might suggest that just to give them a little bit of variety. And then I shortly thereafter they should be carnivore. But I think carnivore, if you could go that way first, you just have to prime your mind and say, you know, this is maybe my last chance. You know, I'm pushing 70. You know, how many more chances am I going to get feeling better? You know, so uh, and having health problems. You know, so I'm still nervous about my score, but I'm hoping it kind of stays there. It doesn't get much higher. You know, but I feel fantastic, and I'm not having all the heart palpitations just by walking to the mailbox. You know, down our driveway.
This is it's really testament to the resilience of our bodies as well, though, right? Because for years we wage war on our body.
Yeah, really.
And it's, within a space of weeks, our body can recover as long as we give it the right nutrition.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. It really is. I mean, it's so easy. It's you think it's hard, you know, and it isn't. But it's that easy. You just have to do it. Like I mean, I still have stuff in my refrigerator I shouldn't have, but I have had no craving for it. None. You know, I have because I'm a baker and I was a cook, so I still have all that. I mean, I have expensive stuff in my kitchen, you know, because I collected over the years. But I don't have a craving to go make something or eat something. It's, you know, at all. Uh, that wouldn't have worked with any other diet. That wouldn't have worked. Not at all.
Yeah, you've got to get it out of sight altogether on any diet, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I don't want to have sugar crashes anymore. I don't want to go that route. You know, when you got heart problems and other things, you got to take care of yourself, and you can. And I feel like I don't have them. I mean, I know I do, but I feel like I don't have. 'Em.
So, Sue, how can people reach out to you if they want to get in contact? Do you have social media or anything?
Well, I needed my husband's help to get on. So, no, but they can contact me through my email if you want to share that. That would be fine with me.
Sure, I'll include your email in the show notes. Sue, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story with us. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, I appreciate you and what you're doing for humankind that's willing to talk to you because it's going to build a lot of people up and start a new life for them.